our officials have done due diligence on all the organizations to which we've given money. They have the appropriate, I'm told they have the appropriate connections by which to deliver aid on the ground. And as I say, it is our officials who carefully research these groups and make sure they fit the needs of the Government of Canada.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper says they carefully reviewed by officials. He's defending the government's move to pledge $2 million to an aid group operating in Syria, based here in Canada. But the group does not have charitable status. It says it's applying for it. It's less than a year old, founded just this year. The group is called the Canadian Relief for Syria. They only registered with Industry Canada last April. They're still waiting, as I say, to receive their charitable status. Now, the money is supposed to go for medical supplies for doctors and healthcare providers inside Syria. But this same group has worked with another group called and continues to work with a group called Human Concern International. That's a group with alleged ties to Omar Khadr's father and to Al-Qaeda. So there are a lot of questions now. Why is this group getting support from Ottawa? Is this Canada's way of funding Syrian rebels? How was this group vetted? Let's find out. Joining me now from Calgary, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Foreign Affairs Minister, Deepak Oberoi, is here, and Toronto NDP MP Peggy Nash and Liberal MP John McCallum. Good to see all of you.
Good to see you.
Mr. Oberoi, as I understand this is how it worked. John Baird went to Paris and met with a group called the Union of Syrian Medical Relief Organizations in June. Apparently they asked Minister Baird to fund the Canadian relief for Syria, and then the government on August 12th announced $2 million would be going to this group. But they got no charitable status. They've got very little record. So tell me, how were they vetted and by whom were they vetted?
Well, when John Baird visited France as part of the outreach program to see how we could help Syria, more specifically in the medical field, as you have said, the French authorities actually recommended this Union of Syrian Medical Relief Organizations, and they told us that this was the group that had the best connections on the ground through which medical supplies could reach to the appropriate place where we wanted it to go. And therefore, this group then wrote to the minister and said that they had an affiliated here in Canada, and that they asked that we work through with them.
So you're saying a French group told you? Sorry, did the Union of Syrian Medical Relief or the French government? Who told you?
The French government recommended the Union as the organization that had the best connections to get the relief on ground. The Union then said they had an affiliated in Canada. To work with the affiliated in Canada, we would work. We then asked, and our due diligence, as the Prime Minister said, came into play. So our officials then started doing them and have asked for proposals to make sure that whatever that we give will meet the criteria.
So you say your due diligence. Hold on, I just want to get this straight. Did you know, first of all, that they didn't have charitable status yet?
Well, just let me conclude. As up to now, as I talk to you, no money has been given because we are awaiting proposals that will come from these groups.
No money has been given, but you've legitimized this group by saying $2 million is pledged to that group. So my question is, did you know when the announcement came that they were not yet a charitable group? And then before I get the other MPs, tell me that, and then I want to ask you about Human Concern International. Did you know they weren't charitable?
Let me just jump in and say the Human Concern International, no money has been given by us to that organization. That organization is banned, so we do not worry about that organization.
But Mr. Oberoi, hold on.
As for the other one the Syrian Relief Organization, yes, we have asked them for a proposal. We haven't given them any money. Now, when the proposal comes, and if it meets our due diligence and everything vetted out, then we will work. But we need to work with organizations that have the best ability to deliver out there, because remember, Syria is a war zone.
All right, I want to but first of all, just clarify. I talked to a member, a spokesperson, Momzad Al-Musli, the Secretary and Board Member of Canadian Relief for Syria. He told me that, yes, they do work with Human Concern International, that Human Concern International processes their receipts. They're not charitable receipts, but they're receipts. So they do work with a group that was once run by the alleged al-Qaeda financer Ahmed Saeed Khadr, the late father of the Guantanamo Bay detainee Omar Khadr, as reported in Maclean's magazine and other places. So I guess my question is, did you know this group was working with this Human Concern International?
No, we did not, because, as I told you, the French authorities are the ones that recommended that this was the right organization that had the ability, taking the French on their word. We asked for proposal, yet we are waiting to see what it will come. If it meets our criteria, as the Prime Minister said, our due diligence, then we will look at it.
But with all due
Otherwise,
respect, if you didn't know they
anything.
worked with this group, then it raises questions about your due diligence process.
Well, we haven't given them any money. So.
Peggy Nash, what's your concern? Do you have any concern? Again, this group may be doing good work. We don't know, and I'm not casting aspersions on the group. But Ms. Nash, they have no charitable status. They have worked with this Human Concern International. Do you have concerns about this group, or is this group the best way to support the situation in Syria?
Well, Evan, we have a lot of questions about this situation. Certainly we have been calling for government aid for months now, and I think so many people around the world are concerned with what's happening on the ground in Syria, and I have to say Jordan has really stepped up in terms of taking a lot of refugees. So we're glad that the government is finally saying that they want to offer money for aid, but we have questions about the transparency of this aid. The Red Cross, for example, has been working in this region since 1967, and our question would be, why not the Red Cross, which is also on the ground, has a clear long-term track record, and can efficiently, effectively, and with confidence deliver this aid, or even Doctors Without Borders. So we're very concerned about the transparency. You know, Canadians work very hard for their money. They want to make sure that when our tax dollars are going for international aid, that it's being given to a good organization that's going to use it effectively. And we need to see some transparency here.
You mentioned the Red Cross, John McCallum. When I talked to a member, Mr. Al-Musli, the representative of Canadian Relief for Syria, on their website they say they work with the Red Cross. They in fact had a fundraiser that they gave money to the Red Cross, but they say they continue to work with the Red Cross. The Red Cross denies this. Let me just show you a clip of that interview. Here it is.
We had a relationship with Canada Red Cross. We had a contract with them. We did a fundraiser event here in Montreal. The contract is expired for logistical purposes. We didn't get the chance to renew it, but certainly in the future we are open to cooperate with any local or international human organization.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. I know that contract expired in June. Again, the Red Cross said during that one event, all the money went directly to the Red Cross, not to your organization. That's what they're saying. In other words, no money went to your organization. They say the money went to them.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. So what does your group do then? Does it funnel money to the Red Cross, or does it work? We're just trying to get a sense of some clarity of why the government would give your group $2 million and maybe not just give it directly to the Red Cross.
Well, I believe this question must be asked to the government, not us. I can't answer for the government.
McCallum, he says later that maybe they should take that off their website. They have no contract with the Red Cross. What's your view on this group?
Well, Evan, we are quite positive towards this group. I think Bob Rae was the first of the political leaders to meet directly with this group, and we were impressed that they truly did represent Syrians, and they are perhaps the only group with this direct experience in Canada. And so we think it is appropriate for this money to go through them. We've been calling for months for more humanitarian aid, more health aid, and this is what this group is doing. Now, it has come to light there's there's creditable status issues, there's a nefarious group internationally. That would have to be sorted out so that they do the work properly. But our information is that this is a group that is appropriate for the mission at hand.
But how do you know that? I mean, they only registered in 2012. Well, you say, and I talked to them, they said they're expert. What gives you the confidence that they may be, and again, maybe they are. When we looked at their website, they said they're apolitical, so they're not, they're supposed to do essentially what the Red Cross is. Why do you think they're the best group to handle Canadian taxpayers' money?
I wasn't at the meeting. Bob Rae was there. Several of my colleagues were there, and they had discussions, and they learned about the roots, the background of these individuals, and they came away impressed that this was a group that could effectively handle this mission. as I said, the creditable status issue is an issue that has to be resolved. But my understanding is that this is a group that is appropriate for the mission of getting much-needed health assistance into Syria.
Deepak Oberoi, last question. Is this a way to funnel money to the Syrian rebels?
Well, most importantly, we are giving, I want to make very sure that everybody understands, medical supplies. We are not giving humanitarian. We are giving medical supplies in area where there is war going on. And from what the French told us, who have a lot of experience out there, that this was the right group through which the aid, medical supplies, would reach where it was intended to reach. That is why we are looking at this group. We have asked for the proposals, but I can assure you right now, no money has been given. Due diligence will be done, and if we found that it meets our criteria, then we will move forward.
But, so why make the announcement if you haven't done your due diligence?
Well, no. This money is allocated. This money is allocated to go for medical relief
to this group.
To medical relief to Syria. Whether it goes through this group or other group, that we will see. But that money has already been allocated as part of relief effort for the medical supplies.
All right.
For the Syria.
So I got less than a minute here. Peggy Nash, very quickly, and John McCall. Is this a way? I know it's going through medical supplies, but given that we don't know very much about this group, I mean, do you think this is just a way of funneling money to the Syrian rebels?
Well, Evan, we can't know that, but I think the key thing here is there's a real urgency. We don't want dithering and uncertainty when there is obviously an urgent humanitarian and medical need. I guess I just feel that the issue of transparency is key. I would ask, does this government not have confidence in the Red Cross? Why not put the money through the Red Cross or through Doctors Without Borders? If not, let's be clear, let's be transparent. I think Canadians deserve that.
All right, unfortunately, I got to leave it there. Very interesting. We'll find out more where this money is going and what this group does. Parliamentary Secretary to the Foreign Affairs Minister, Deepak Oberoi, NDP MP Peggy Nash, and Liberal MP John McCallum. I appreciate your time, all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Evan.